Okay. All right, since we are in person now, we will start with the pledge.
Hold on 1 minute. So I'm hearing that you can't hear, but I show here that
Can you guys hear?
I'm showing here that we're good. So I just want to verify right before we start.
Dawn says she can hear.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody else.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, in liberty, justice for all.
All right, moving to the first order, we need a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of May 11th, 2020, the special board meeting minutes of May 19th, 2020, the special board meeting minutes of May 22nd, 2020, and negotiations committee meeting minutes of June 4th, 2020.
So moved. Pappas.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to approve the special board executive session meeting minutes of May 19, 2020, the special board executive session meeting minutes of May 22nd, 2020, and negotiations committee meeting executive session minutes of June 4th, 2020.
So moved.
Second. Pappas.
Okay, roll call. Duchess? Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to approve to keep closed the executive session minutes of July 8th, 2019, August 5th, 2019, August 26th, 2019, September 3rd, 2019, September 9th, 2019, October 16th, 2019, and December 9th of 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Duchess, second.
Okay, roll call. Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to approve the destruction of executive session recorded meetings of July 9th, 2018, August 13th of 2018, September 10th of 2018, September 17th, 2018, September 27th, 2018, and November 14th, 2018.
Was that item 5 there or item 6 that you just told me?
There was 6.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes?
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
And Hernandez?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I need a motion to approve the June 2020 expenses.
Oh, excuse me,
Yes.
Mr. President? Could I make a motion or ask, I guess, first of all, for a point of clarification and order? I was under the impression that the understanding based on your communication that we would be having an executive session tonight and when that would be on the agenda?
It will be on the agenda after the staff reports, section 10.
Okay, could I make a motion to propose that we move into the executive session now?
Second, Weissel.
Okay, Ms. Zurich,
Yes.
Goldberg,
Yeah.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
Duchess,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
and Pappas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, you will have to leave this call and call into the other number that you were given. Are we on?
Make sure they're hearing. Yeah, should be back.
Yeah, John's
Hearing now.
Yep, okay, we're good. Roll.
Okay, Paul, are you back on?
Yes, I am.
Juan?
Yes.
Liz?
Present.
Carla?
Yes.
Okay. Going back to our agenda, I need a motion to approve the June 2020 expenses. You have some additional bills that were sent out to you. Any questions?
I have a question. This is Weissel about the Bullock Brothers construction. I thought that was going to be on the next fiscal year, which would end about 3 weeks, and it's $30,739.50. And since it looks like our budget might show up like $5 million deficit, I was wondering if that's the way we should be putting that off, and I thought that was for the next fiscal year.
Yeah, that was part of the original conversation. This is Mr. Cox. And as we looked at our end of May numbers, our May expenditures were particularly small. And so we should be able to cover this bill and still make our budget by the end of June.
I'm looking at the revenue money. Are we still missing, are we still waiting for $4.493 million in revenue
Yes,
in the next 3 weeks?
So if
What?
you'll recall, June is our big local property tax month.
Okay, so you think we'll get $4.493 million this month?
I have no idea how much we'll get.
We received 2.3 last Friday.
Oh, you received 2.3?
On Friday we did, yes.
In Marlow? Wasn't
From local, that was local revenue.
Isn't they breaking it down in 4 quarter payments now for something after the cold or
No,
something?
no, it's like, well, it's only once a month now. Kind of, they've changed that. It used to be twice a month, and now it's once. But they're bigger amounts.
Yes, that's local property tax money.
Any other
What
questions?
was the answer to it's a quarterly payment now? That wasn't my understanding.
No, it's not. Monthly.
Okay.
Any other questions on the expenses?
Yeah, as a follow-up from last time, I don't think there were answers on, related to finance on the ATI contract, the SRO, sorry, not the ATI contract, but our current spend for fiscal year 20, since we didn't have services as well as the SRO
Yes.
arrangements. Was there decisions?
Yeah, so to follow up, a request has been made with the village to look at those months that we did not receive service. Last time I talked with the village administrator, that had gone to committee, so that's further conversation. On ATI, they are not giving any type of credits for the spring, and so if we continue to utilize them, we need to make sure that we have an out for any fall programs, should there not be any.
So then we would just not pay that contract for fall?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, we have to renew the contract, and then we would put that stipulation in there.
Yes. Yes.
Any other questions? I need a motion to approve the June 2020 expenses.
So moved.
I'll second.
Just a second.
Okay, roll call. Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez? Hernandez?
Yes.
And Pappas?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Is Mike on, or what are we doing with the treasurer's report?
Yeah, I don't know that we've been able to get Mike on. Do we know? Let's check real quick.
Mike Peters, are you on the call?
He said he got it, but I don't know. He might have tried to get in
Yeah. Maybe. So if you don't mind, Mr. President, right there in the middle of the page, as normal, is the key number from the treasurer's report. Balance of all funds, 53120. That's 11.455 million. If you look at that over a 12-month period, 12 months ago at the end of May, the district had $11.505 million, which means that in the last 12 calendar months, we've taken $50,000 out of savings. So basically over the last 23 months, we've put $187,000 in savings. And the rest of those accounts and numbers are in the report. And as Member Weissel alluded to earlier, this June, as always, is a big local property tax revenue month. So we will have to see how that comes in.
Can you speak to the timing of expected property taxes, given the state budget, or I guess that doesn't affect the state, but then the local changes that we've had, and any expectations there?
Yeah, we really don't have any expectations because it's kind of an unknown. I mean, the good news is we will receive the money that we're supposed to over time. The bad news with an end of June ending for our fiscal year is that we don't know if we will get our, quote unquote, normal allotment. We'll just have to wait and see what that looks like.
And how are you planning for that impact going into expecting the cash flow into the next fiscal year?
There is no impact with respect to cash flow. We might not be able to have as much money in July and August to reinvest, but there is no impact to cash flow.
Okay. I'm not following. If payments are delayed and that, how is there no impact to cash flow?
Because the district has so much money in the bank. It's not like we're going to struggle making payroll or paying bills.
Well, for a certain amount of time, and things, we can't predict all of the future, but a risk to our budget plan for next year as well.
Well, I think that's a discussion for a finance committee for a projection.
Yes, agreed.
Any other questions? Then I need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Before we make that motion, I'd like to add another comment, just so that folks can understand that, it is critical that we do have these reserves available to the district right now. So, also being cognizant that those have been built up over a long period of time and not putting us in any critical situations. There's other districts, nearby that are not in such a fortunate situation. So it's also thanks to those who have come before us and made those decisions and made our situation possible. Thank you.
Yes, and as we've said before, 180 days cash at hand would be exemplary and absolutely great, and we have 499.
Okay, continue with your
Roll call.
roll call.
Goldberg,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes?
Weissel,
Yes.
Duchess,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, at this time, we will invite guest speakers. Kevin, if you would just give us your name and address for the record.
Address?
I think we put that
Just
in.
town.
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 Yeah.
yeah.
Kevin Papstick, Mantino, Illinois. Before I begin, I would like to request that we can stream this through like Facebook Live or something, because I've been hearing a lot of people are struggling to hear the audio and stuff that's going on here.
Is that a possibility? We don't, how many? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 people in the room. If somebody would stay, like the union president, would everyone be okay with him Facebook streaming this so people can hear it, since they're having issues with audio?
Yeah.
That was Carla?
You would have
What?
a problem? Did you say you would have a problem with someone?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
The question is, can we have someone live stream because people are having difficulty hearing the audio?
So you would put it on Facebook? It doesn't,
Yes,
Is
a
that
live
pretty typical?
stream means that they would sit as if they were in the group in a public meeting, and they would hold their phone, and then people would be able to watch it, just as if we were live streaming on YouTube, which a lot of school boards do as a regular meeting issue. Does anyone have a problem if we would ask Kevin to do that? Okay.
Hearing no objections, I guess it's okay.
Would you mind?
oh, hold on a second. I have a question. Would somebody be editing this, or is it?
No.
What? No, I didn't.
It is not an editable video, as it is live.
It's live streaming, just as if they were watching or listening to the meeting.
Yes. This is
Don't you think
done,
we should have something on our own then? Because somebody could cut and paste it, like a Google Meet or something?
no,
This could be cut and pasted.
again, just as the live streams happen through board meetings via YouTube and Facebook Live. For example, Crete does Facebook Live, I believe. It is a live video that is not editable. It is just like any other live stream, whereas if somebody was sitting in the public area as we are, and we would not be breaking the gathering rule, that they could sit here as a normal public and record the meeting on their Facebook Live.
I don't think we can actually.
I would want somebody else to, within the district, to be recording it also.
Can you repeat that?
I would want somebody within the district to be recording it also, so we had a copy of it.
Okay,
It is.
It is
it is being recorded.
our normal
The
video.
video is being recorded too?
Yes.
Board meeting is being recorded, Carla.
Yep,
Just the video? Okay.
yes. Great,
Okay,
okay.
I don't want to stream it on mine, but I'm sure I can find someone out there.
fine.
Yep,
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
sure.
Are we then going to be expected to interact with them? What if there's postings or links or,
No,
No, we're not.
no.
responses online?
No, this is just as if someone was sitting in the public, as they have the right to, and to video on a Facebook Live. We do not interact.
I don't agree with the platform. My opinion is I don't agree with the Facebook platform for this purpose. I think options that should have been planned for accordingly so that we could be effective.
Right, because then people will be making comments, and we're not allowed to make any comments back in this.
If I could ask, we still have the board attorney on the line. Board attorney, is there any, as this is a public meeting, is there any, how should I say? Restriction that would bar a public person from recording?
No, for an open meeting under the Open Meetings Act may be recorded by somebody attending, and so this a virtual attendant. They can do the same thing. They can record it as they wish. That's different from them participating, and they can't do it in a way that obviously interrupts the meeting in any way. But it would be the same as if they were physically present at the meeting and recording it. They could do that for the open session part of the meeting.
Okay. All right. Moving forward. Would you like to start? Oh, wait, we have, Mr. Missouri stepped out to the bathroom. If we could just wait a second.
Sure thing.
Do you have one there?
We have a volunteer who's going to do it for us. I just want to know where would you like her to sit?
But there's
Yeah, right there's fine.
Yeah.
Do you need the Wi-Fi or does your phone work?
My phone's okay so far.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
All right, Ron is back. All right, this is Kevin Pevasic, the BEA president. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Kevin Pavsik, and I'm the president of the Beecher Education Association. I'm here tonight to represent the union in our support for the renewal of Mr. Brad Cox. When the board decided not to renew his contract, I was inundated with calls and emails asking what we were going to do as a union. It was clear the staff members of this district support Mr. Cox. Tonight, this is made even more clear by the countless numbers of staff members standing outside in support or listening into this meeting right now. Our executive board decided to have the union vote on whether to send a letter of support for Mr. Cox to the board, and 98% of the union voted to do that. I will now read that letter. The BEA is informing the Beecher Board of Education of its disagreement to not renew the contract of Mr. Cox. In his first 2 years in Beecher, he has shown tremendous care for the students of Beecher 200U, support for the teaching staff, compassion for support staff, and kinship with the community. The BEA recognizes that the decisions he has made have been to increase student academic success and social emotional growth. We believe he has achieved this. For example, his leadership was essential in student engagement during the COVID-19 pandemic. While no district was truly prepared for a crisis such as this, his push for a one-to-one technology program allowed our students to stay involved in their education through e-learning. We urge you to rethink your decision and make what we feel is the right choice for our students, district, and community by renewing the contract of Mr. Cox as Superintendent of Beecher Community Unit School District 200U. It is clear the staff members of this district stand behind Mr. Cox. We urge you to reconsider your decision. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Did you say there is Wi-Fi? Sorry.
Yeah. Mr. Duncan.
Mr. Duncan's right behind you.
Any problems? Hello, Ben.
This is my,
Hey, Tom.
you probably just saw the shirt everywhere else.
All right, if you introduce yourself and give us what town you live in.
It's recorded.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah, I think they're streaming it?
Yes, Miss Hartig is sitting in Facebook stream.
Yes. She's doing it. Okay, good.
I'm trying.
So you said, okay. You said name?
Name and town.
Name and time. Got it.
It's starting. Okay, we're live.
I'm Ben Uzeshin from Beecher, Illinois. Let me start with thanking the board for the unexpected and doubtless long hours needed due to the tumultuous events at the end of the school year. As a Beecher citizen, and especially as a parent of a Beecher student, and an additional future one at that, I'm appreciative of the work done by yourselves, and of course the 200U administration. On that topic, over the last couple of years, I've taken a stronger interest in the decisions and actions impacting the school district. I chose to speak tonight to express my disagreement with the decision not to renew the superintendent contract with Mr. Cox. Ideally, I would have voiced some of these opinions in advance of the vote. But honestly, although I followed the board meetings more than most of the community, I think, I was unaware that this was even a likely outcome, as I believe much of the community feels, based on the extensive feedback I've heard both online and personally. In every board meeting I have attended or viewed, Mr. Cox has been well-prepared, well-spoken, and visibly easy to work with. It is clear that he puts in an immense amount of work to keep the district running at a high degree of excellence and takes significant pride in what he does, not to mention cares for staff and students. I've seen him pushing for great opportunities for our students, both in terms of academics, sports, and safety. That being said, I feel he is also realistic about our capabilities and budgets, as I've seen him recommend not pursuing some items or investigating more fully to ensure the cost-benefit ratio is beneficial for the district and our community. One thing that really struck me during the community outcry prompted by many parents and community members upset at losing Mr. Cox was the voice of several recent BHS graduates mentioning how he was present in the school and fostering a sense of community within the walls. When I was in high school, I barely knew the name of our superintendent, and I don't think there were very many students that did. Involved parents? Concerned community members? Sure. To have students speaking up for him as well speaks volumes for the level of dedication Mr. Cox shows our district. In closing, I implore the board to reconsider this decision. Please hear the many voices in Beecher that believe Mr. Cox is the right person to serve our district as superintendent, and give us the consideration of taking an additional opportunity to review his contract to be absolutely certain that the best decision is ultimately made for the community. In the end, to reconsider is not a sign of weakness, but I think to honor the voice of the community is a sign of strength. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Okay, Ashley, if you would state your name and town you live in.
Ashley Belt. I live in Beecher, Illinois. I am speaking on behalf of renewing Mr. Cox's employment contract. As a parent, I have two children. One is in elementary and one is in junior high. They're recently more in junior high now. I personally don't know Mr. Cox. Never had met him before any of this happened. I just know what I've seen in the community as a community member. The things that I've noticed the past couple of years that he's done for my children. The biggest thing that sticks out to me was how prepared we were for the e-learning. I'm in the education field, and I have tons of friends all over the country in the education field, and we talk, and I have seen how it fares not being one-to-one, not having a platform that the children are set up to use, how it went. Most of them reviewed concepts. They didn't keep learning. This put our children, I feel, Beecher, ahead of the game in so much. We're not going back in the fall with 6 months of no learning. Or we just reviewed concepts and they didn't learn an entire quarter of information. They may be a little behind, but compared to the country, we're ahead of the game. And I feel if Mr. Cox hadn't pushed for that one-to-one technology before he even knew the pandemic was going to happen, because he didn't know that, well, at least I don't think he did. I guess I can't say he didn't. I know where we would have been, and it's not good. We would have been behind, which is not what we want for the children. When I submit the petition, I have a list of things that I've saw that he's done good, that everyone signed off on. Just everything I've seen that he's done for the students is to put the students first and to make them ready to enter society and be a good contributing member of society. Am I out of time?
1 minute.
Oh, okay. I talk fast, sorry. I also, the big thing for me was the e-learning. I don't have children in high school, but the second biggest thing that was huge for me was the work with Prairie State College to try to get them dual credit and try to get the children to know that you can get training for a trade, because college is not in the books for everyone. I went to college, I'm a teacher. My husband never went to college. He makes triple figures. He does fine in the trade industry. And I think a lot of the children that may not be so good at school, they need to have someone supporting them and pushing them to be what they want to be. And if you don't have those opportunities given to them, most of them can't go find them. So I think that was something that was the second best thing, because by the time my children get to high school, that will be in place because it's already been started. Hopefully, it continues. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And are you leaving the petition?
Yes, when it's time for that. Right?
Yeah,
I have to
is it
submit
there
the
with
petition when it's time for it on the
Oh,
agenda.
okay.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
I
Yes,
am,
if you'd state your name and the city you live in.
right, my name is Brandy Flores. I live at 397 Woodbury Bend. I'm a little embarrassed to admit that this is my first Board of Education meeting that I have attended. Honestly, I haven't attended very many public meetings. I use the polls as my voice and allow the elected officials like you to decide on my behalf. However, I am here tonight to make my voice known that I do not agree with the decision regarding Mr. Cox. I could spend my time commenting on his stellar communication and how my high school and junior high children see Mr. Cox regularly in their schools. I can speak at length about how he and his family have become a part of our community, but I'm finding it hard to put a time frame on all I want to say. Now, for as many public meetings as I've not attended, I have attended well over 72 Beecher Youth Commission meetings in which I have volunteered for 6+ years. The BUIC may not be as impactful or important as this board, but we both serve the purpose of making our town a better place for our youth. I understand the role in which you serve. I've been frustrated when my board doesn't agree. I understand about being responsible, fiscally responsible for taxpayer dollars, but I also know that making an investment may be a little more expensive up front, but will be worth it in the long run. I also know how difficult and challenging it can be when facing opposition, but it is our duty as public servants to set aside our personal opinions and act on the wants and the needs of our community. Finally, I would like to touch on the current state of crisis in which our children have experienced unprecedented ways of learning. I cannot speak for everyone, but my children had an almost seamless transition because they had the technology they needed and they knew how to use it. If not for the superintendent's push to have Chromebooks for each student, we would be in a very different situation. I also know that other school districts struggled with the transition to remote learning. Our small town of Beecher fared this challenge better than some of our larger neighboring towns. That is why we need a superintendent like Mr. Cox to keep this type of initiative moving forward. Right now, there is so much unknown. Our children don't know what their classrooms will look like, or if they even have a classroom to return to. In this time of crisis, why do we want to go into the unknown with more unknown? The Board of Education should be focusing on helping the staff and students navigate these uncharted waters, not searching for a new, unknown superintendent, especially when we already have a proven leader in Mr. Cox that can help us through these difficult times. That is why I implore you to listen to your community. Please find a way to overcome whatever challenges you may have and renew Mr. Cox's contract. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello,
If you state your name and the city you live in.
Jen Hancock, Beecher, Illinois, all my life. My name is Jennifer Hancock, and I am a parent to 3 students within our school district, as well as a graduate myself. I am a firm believer that there are always 2 sides to every story. With this story, the only side we know is the public knowledge in which the votes were made 4-3. Within the unknown reason for the 4 who voted against renewing Mr. Cox's contract, it is hard to understand. What is easy to understand is our knowledge of what we know Mr. Cox has done for the good of our district. He is liked by the faculty, students, parents, and community overall. He is a very personable, easy approachable, and makes appearance often during many school events. If anything can be made known to the public as to why the 4 voted no, it would help us to better understand what we may be missing in terms of a good fit for a superintendent. While I do know many rumors are going around, and not that all are true, one that sits hard is the one that has said that the 4 who voted no was due to the increase with the reserve spending, which also could result in an increase in property taxes. It is that some of the members of the board are business owners within the community and have voted the way they did to prevent their taxes from increasing. If this is true, I hope those votes would be reconsidered, as they do not have anything to do with what is in the best interest for our school district. I am not saying this rumor is true, but if there is any truth behind it, I ask that those members reconsider their purpose of being board members and do what is right for our district. I hope the support that we have here tonight for Mr. Cox, as well as everything done since May 22nd when the vote originally took place, is how we feel, and that you please reconsider your votes to renew his contract. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Janet Pallmeyer, former school board member, 1160 Ash Street. It's really sad that the 4 who voted no cannot see in person how our community comes together and fights for what they believe is a slap in their face. Back in 2018, when I was on the board, we had to hire a new superintendent. Some of you who are new have no idea the lengthy process or countless hours it took to hire a new leader. This task was not taken lightly. Brad interviewed extremely well, mapped out his plan for the district, not only for the present, but for the future. After the 2019 election, I was shredding papers and I came across his application. And I will tell you this, he has stuck to the plan for Beecher, 200U, 100%. The struggle that I have is that the 2 current board members in 2018 approved Brad to be our new superintendent, has now voted no. For the newest board members who are listening online, let me shed a little light for you. Before Brad's contract even began, he drove to Beecher twice a week to begin the interview process of hiring a new high school principal. Not even 6 months of being here, Brad had to remove our band teacher due to videotaping of students. And then, of course, everybody knows as of recent, he had to endure e-learning, as you know, due to COVID. He handled everything with the utmost professionalism and always kept keeping parents updated with constant changes while still running a school district. By not offering an extension to Brad's contract is not acceptable. In the last 13 months, what in the heck has happened? When I was on the board, things were changing for the better, plans set in motion and accomplished. Brad has jumped in with both feet without batting an eye, taking on our challenges and succeeding. He is present in every building, knows every high school kid's names, and knows every single staff person. You rarely see him in his office. Your job as a board member is to make sure everything is running smoothly, and I seriously think you need to reread the oath that you all took. Do you have to agree on everything? No. Is Brad perfect? No. Is there room to grow? Absolutely. This is called a working relationship. If there are issues, the board needs to address the public as we have a right to know. Remember, you were voted in by the public. I would like to see what survey was sent out to administration, staff, and students asking for their input of Mr. Cox. I know my children never saw one, so my best guess is nothing was ever sent for any type of input. I'm not asking to agree on everything, but since the 4-3 vote last month, neither is the board. This is where the board is wrong and needs to be on the same page. Why would you not agree for a contract extension when good changes are happening? If this is about money that Brad is spending to make improvements that are greatly needed, this makes 0 sense since the board approves all spending. Why are you saying yes to spending now and using it against him? But it's okay to spend money on possibly 2 things, a potential new superintendent search, and then, this is a good one, having the district provide lunches to the community due to COVID-19. When I heard that over and over the last 2 months, I thought these new board members, A, have no clue of their job function, and B, cannot use taxpayer dollars for something other than school-related items. Let me remind you that there is an election in April of '21, and there will be 3 seats up at that time. I don't know if the people who hold these seats will seek re-election, but rest assured, there will be 3 new board members next year because people will remember how you voted on this subject. If a re-vote for a contract extension does not occur soon, I can guarantee it will be negotiated right after the new board members are sworn in next year. And to my kid's superintendent, Brad, you are a breath of fresh air, and as you have always said, there is a silver lining in everything. You are liked, respected, and appreciated more than you will ever know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm speaking, she's the crier. All right, I think some of you know, my family and I, we've been a part of this.
Would you state both your names and
Shane and Casey Malika.
and where you live?
Beecher.
Beecher, that's
Yep.
fine.
So I think some of you know, my family and I, we've been a part of this community for the last 7 years. And I can firmly say that the number of initiatives that Mr. Cox has put forth in the last 2 years have been greatly appreciated and are so significant compared to what was happening 5 years prior. When I look at what has been accomplished from a matter of looking to get asbestos removed, roofs repaired, parking lots repaved and redone, and that is so significant. And it's not just having that occur, but how it's occurring or how it occurred. Mr. Cox pulled in members, not just his building administrators and faculty, but members of the community as well, and having that deep collaborative effort to find out what is needed for our schools. And then you look on top of that in terms of what's happened in terms of integrating technology to make sure our students are on a level playing field with the rest of the area. That's been extremely significant. And also the advancements with the curriculum and the program in all 3 schools. That, in my eyes, has not gone unnoticed and has been extremely significant. Also, when I think of the future as well, I feel Mr. Cox has a business and financial acumen that's going to be very important going forward. COVID-19 has absolutely rocked our world, and we cannot expect that going forward there won't be significant paradigm shifts in the way we do things. And we cannot expect that we're going to have help from state funding to help go through that process. I know Mr. Cox is going to have the foresight to make sure we are financially viable going forward and we can continue to progress. And finally, I want to talk about the connections that he has made within the community. In my eyes, it's been very significant. And I wish everybody was here to see the outpour of support that Mr. Cox has received. You don't get this many people showing up from the community if they feel that things are just going okay. I feel that everything is going in a very positive direction, and I'm hoping that all of you can come together and collaborate and renew Mr. Cox's contract, because I feel having him has a positive effect on our school district and the community. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Thank you.
PTO, you know we have to make an entrance.
Okay, who is going to speak?
I'm going to speak.
Okay.
Kendra Hewitt,
State your name and where you live.
Kendra Hewitt, 1515 Saddle Run Lane. Okay? All right, good evening. On behalf of the Beecher PTO, we would like to say we stand in full support of Mr. Cox and all he has done for our students and school over the past 2 years. From day one, he has kept the students' best interest in mind, and we will always appreciate that. After 5 years of Chromebook donations from the PTO, Mr. Cox's initiative to get our district to a 1-to-1 ratio for technology came to life. Without his drive and ambition, the last 2.5 months of remote learning would have looked a lot different. As an organization, we look forward to continuing this relationship with Mr. Cox for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then I have Do you need me to restate my name and address? No?
It's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
As
Now
you know,
this is a personal comment.
This is
Okay.
a personal comment. As you know, I am a PTO member, a substitute teacher for the district, but most importantly, I am a parent of an incoming 5th grader and 2nd grader. I am in support of renewing Superintendent Cox's contract. I believe that he has shown knowledge and experience that our district needs to continue to move forward. His community engagement, compassion, and respect for the staff, students, and parents are what our community values. As parents, we have high expectations for our teachers, staff, administrators, and our school board. I believe Mr. Cox has done a great job in his leadership of this district over the past 2 years. Thank you, Mr. Cox, for all you have done and what you will continue to do. And thank you to the members of the board for taking the time to listen to the community this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If you'd state your name and where you live.
Adriana DeChenko, 280 Monhegan. I first want to thank all of you for attending this evening, and Mr. Cox and Ms. Help. I'm here tonight with a significant number of our community members to implore the board to vote to retain Mr. Cox as our superintendent. I will be a parent of a soon-to-be kindergartner, 6th grader, and 9th grader. And as both a parent and an educator for over 20 years, it is disheartening that leaders with integrity, visibility, commitment, and understanding, such as Mr. Cox's contract, was not being renewed. As a teacher, I value and I know the consistency that we desire, the professionalism and retaining of quality staff. The lack of continuity when we keep having repeat superintendents will only be detrimental to the district and to the students. As a school board, you serve the students, and the most important job you have is to hire and retain quality staff at all levels, and to govern a district through voting by approving or not approving initiatives driven by district staff and leaders, leaving the daily management of curriculum and all those other mundane tasks to the administrators. Those are your experts. That's who you lean on. Facts, not personal agendas, feelings, drives our decisions, and that is what I hope every decision is made by every board member. As a parent and resident of over 14 years, I have firsthand seen the improvements Mr. Cox has done in only 2 short years. He is advocating for improving our curriculum at the junior high and high school with adding Prairie State courses. He's added sports and extracurriculars, improving our facilities, which we all know is a great need in the district. Not a want, these are our needs. If there was not agreement in some of those expenditures, it should have been done in executive session or other private matters. But the board voted to approve all of those expenditures. So if there's a financial problem, it is news to us, because those things were all voted that we needed. Under his tenure, we have tackled an unprecedented pandemic within days' notice, and we ensured that every child's needs were met. He and his staff involved with students and families at all 3 of our buildings. My kids never missed a beat. They had lunches, they had Chromebooks. When things were broken, things got replaced. They always had their materials to be successful. Our kids won't have a huge drawback coming back in the fall, and that could be attributed to his leadership in the district. And we are always going to be grateful for the kind of staff and community and environment that he has fostered in all 3 of our buildings. To see the staff here tonight and all the parents should speak volumes to the board. In 2 years, he has also brought technology, which was much needed to our district, and we need to continue in that direction. Remember, we are all residents. It doesn't matter how long or how short our tenure has been here. We are all here using our voice to advocate for our kids who attend Beecher schools. We have a vested interest in what's best for this town and best for our district, and that includes retaining Mr. Cox. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, state your name and where you live.
Amy Hardig, and I live in Beecher, Illinois. Again, my name is Amy Hardig. I have 2 children in the district, an incoming 3rd grader and a first-time junior hire, which scares me to death. I'm not one to normally read my words when I speak in public, but I needed to make sure that I got all my points across without forgetting anything. I come here to speak for and give my support of our superintendent, Mr. Cox. I have seen more positive changes in our district in the 2 years since he has been here in Beecher than I saw in all the years prior. It's been great to see the much-needed improvements actually happening in our buildings, and his pursuit of additional technological resources for our students proved highly valuable during the unprecedented 4th quarter we just completed. Without his leadership during this last year especially, the students in the Beecher School District would not have been able to continue their school year as seamlessly as they did. We received communication from him on a regular basis during that time, and it was greatly appreciated. Additionally, my kids know Mr. Cox. They see him on a regular basis in their buildings. He attends school and community functions regularly. This kind of support for both the school district and the community should be commended and continued. I request that the board reconsider Mr. Cox's request for a contract extension. The community of Beecher wants him to stay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Hello.
I'm speaking
Just state your name and where you live.
Okay, Monica Kolash, Beecher, Illinois. I am speaking tonight to express my support for Mr. Cox. I have emailed all of you, however, I still felt compelled to express myself in person as well. My family and I moved to Beecher 3 years ago. We moved as we had outgrown our home and we were seeking better opportunities for our daughter and better educational experiences. When my daughter started attending Beecher Elementary, I questioned if we had made the right decision. Being an educator, I was not impressed with the resources that were supplied. The teachers are amazing, Mrs. Black is amazing, but things were outdated, and it did concern me. The following year, Mr. Cox became superintendent, and I began to see changes. As an educator, parent, and resident, these changes make me thankful that we did choose Beecher as our new home. Mr. Cox brings vision to the district that I first found to be outdated and not progressive. Mr. Cox is willing to make updates to our district that will make children enjoy learning and being at school. The vision that he has will aid our children in being prepared for the world no matter what path they may choose. Mr. Cox is progressive and interested in moving our district forward to keep up with the ever-changing world of education. As a taxpayer, I appreciate that my hard-earned money is being spent on facility upgrades, new curriculum, updated resources for students and staff, and updated technology. Under Mr. Cox's leadership, I've seen an increase in communication from the building administration also. Mr. Cox sends regular communications to residents, and I did not see this under previous leadership. In closing, I support Mr. Cox. I respect and appreciate him for what he has done for our community. I am thankful for him, for you, your knowledge, drive, vision, progressive thinking, communication, and your transparency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you just state your name and
Sure.
the city you live in?
Sure. Jennifer Camilleri, Beecher, Illinois. Good evening, members of the Beecher School Board and Superintendent Brad Cox. My name is Jennifer Camilleri, and I have resided in Beecher for 17 years. My son attends Beecher Elementary School, and my other son will be an incoming kindergarten student this fall. I currently hold a master's degree and a doctoral degree in school leadership, and this is my 10th year as a school principal. I am an involved parent, and my children's education is my top priority. I was very excited to see that Beecher School District was moving, that they became a one-to-one district and began moving towards some new initiatives within the district. Previously, I was concerned with the lack of technology and the resources at the school, but under the leadership of Brad Cox, this has become a reality that we have begun moving forward as one of the leaders in Will County. Additionally, I have never heard the voice of the superintendent of Beecher before Mr. Cox came to this district. I didn't even know who our superintendent was, actually. Mr. Cox communicates well with the community, which I appreciate as a taxpayer, and especially during these times of uncertainty. This is why I grew very concerned and worried when I heard that Mr. Cox's contract was not renewed. I came here tonight so that my voice can be heard. When I look to hiring an employee at my school, I specifically look at if they are a hard worker. I know that Mr. Cox is always working hard, and he spends sleepless nights worrying about how he can improve the education of the children of Beecher Elementary, or Beecher School District, excuse me. This is something that I have experienced as a change agent in my school. This is exactly the type of person that I want running this school district. Not someone that I don't even know their name because they are not present or they never communicate with the community. During these times right now, we need consistency. The face of education in our country will be forever changed because of what has been going on with the pandemic and social justice, I'm concerned, and I need Mr. Cox to continue to lead our school district through probably the toughest period we will ever see in our lifetime. Good superintendents are hard to come by right now, and it would be a terrible mistake not to renew his contract. I have high expectations for my children and the school system they attend. I know having a good education is the foundation for success. I need to feel secure in making sure that this school district provides them a solid foundation to be able to successfully compete in this global society. I did not move here to send my children to private schools. However, there needs to be some changes in the school district, and I know that Mr. Cox is the strong leader we need to steer our district through this tough course that we are now on and improve and continue to improve our educational system for our students of Beecher School District, 200U. And I thank you all for listening tonight. Please renew Superintendent Cox's contract, please, for the children of Beecher. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi. I am Crystal Johnson, and I live on 308 Pine Street. So first off, I have to give a shout out to Mr. Meyer, because everybody's getting a lot of shout outs. He needs one. But anyway, I'm here as a parent, but not only as a parent, as an administrator that is part of 2 separate boards just south of here. I have never seen any board meeting, any board members question and push back everything that not only the superintendent suggests, but obviously the community supports. I've been disappointed in some of the board's decisions, specific board members' decisions in the past, but this one has been the most disappointing. I think as a board that it's time to take a look at what your role is as a board member and what your individual goals are for our district. Are you the voice of the community that you promised to when you ran for this position? Are you doing what is best for kids and our district as a whole? You're in an elected position without any qualifications other than living in Beecher. So how about letting the people that have their degree and experience do their job and continue to do what's best for our kids? I'm asking you to reconsider your decision and seriously think about what your goals are for our kids and our district at this time. Mr. Cox, I've had nothing but positive experiences with you. We appreciate you. My family appreciates you. I truly hope that we don't lose you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. State your name and where you live.
Jonathan Kaporis, Quail Hollow, Beecher. As we continue to navigate through these unprecedented times, I want to first thank the board for giving the public this opportunity and forum to address the school board in person. As you can guess, I am one of the many here to express my disappointment with the recent vote taken to not renew Superintendent Cox's contract. I am here, missing my own board meeting as a village trustee, to advocate for my family as a resident and, most importantly, as a father of 2 children in this school district. As a resident father evaluating this decision, one thing is clear. It has been a long time, approximately 9 years, I think, since I've seen this type of leadership in our school district. Leadership is what any school district needs first and foremost in a superintendent. Do not let this leadership get away. In the 2 short years since Mr. Cox has taken on the position, he has had to deal with the music teacher fiasco, a deadly pandemic, while being forced to institute e-learning on the fly. Mr. Cox, I have not had any major catastrophes at work lately, but if I do, I'm going to be reaching out to you for some advice. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. That, my friends, is leadership. As a village trustee, I will also say that his leadership skills have been evident in the numerous dealings we have had together as boards, especially in reinstating the SRO officer at the schools. A school superintendent has many groups to keep happy, and all at the same time. Juggling that many balls has to be difficult. Keeping the community, principals, teachers, staff, parents, students, and the school board all happy at the same time. While this task may seem daunting, it does to me. He seems to have accomplished all of that, with the exception of 4 board members. As a village trustee, I always try to have my vote represent the voice and sentiment of the community. I am imploring you to do the same. The sentiment is evident in this case. With the support this community has shown Mr. Cox with the parade, the yard signs, etc. The voice of the community is speaking. Hopefully, you are listening. I truly feel it is time for the board to roll up their sleeves and figure out a way to make this relationship work. There has to be a way. While it may not be easy, it really seems to be the best answer for all involved, especially the students. I truly feel this vote will be a defining moment in your legacies as school board members. Please take this opportunity to be the voice of your constituents and renew Mr. Cox's contract. Again, I thank you for this opportunity. I hope you all stay safe and healthy. And lastly, being an optimist, I look forward to the exciting future of Beecher 200U with the leadership of Mr. Cox at the helm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I don't know most of you. I'm Sean Daly. I teach at the high school and the social studies department head. I'm here to talk to you tonight, like everybody else, to support Mr. Cox, but I think I come at this from a different angle. I'm not a member of this community. I haven't lived here my whole life. I've been working in the school for 3 years. I've been an educator for 17. In that time, I've seen a lot of administrators. Some that have helped the teachers, others who have hindered the teachers. And I can tell you of the 7 superintendents or school presidents in the Catholic school system that I have served under, he is absolutely the best. And when you hired him, you hired a gem. I've talked to many people in our building. I know that Kevin already told you how the teachers feel. 98% approval rating. FDR at his height was an 83%. You don't get higher than 98% in a diverse student body. What he didn't tell you is other people in the building, like our paraprofessionals, also love working for Dr. Cox, or Mr. Cox, Mr. Cox, including one of our professionals who reached out to me, Matthew Sippage, who's at the high school, also was shocked by the decision by the school board. Now, a lot of things go into those decisions. We're not privy to all of them, but I can tell you it would be a definitive loss for the students in this community to lose Dr. Cox, or Mr. Cox. Now, you were elected. People in the community wanted you to have oversight of finances. I think probably most of this comes down to finances. I would say this. In a small community like Beecher, with the problems that are facing our world right now, with the leadership or lack thereof that we've seen over the last 20 years, why would we want to get rid of a calm, assertive presence that's in their life every day that shows them you don't have to be loud and obnoxious. You don't have to discount someone else's opinion because it's different. You can listen to it. You can compromise. That's what we should be teaching our students. This is what I try to teach the children in this community every day. The results do not always show up right away, but I can tell you as someone on the ground every day that he and his leadership team are making a difference. And when you get rid of leaders like that, what happens is the good teachers leave. And all you're going to do by making a rash decision after 2 years is get rid of the other good teachers that go. And if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to sacrifice the future of education in this community, then please get rid of Mr. Cox. But if you care about not your own personal agendas, but about the education of the youth of this community, then revisit this and extend the man, or at least open up negotiations to extend him, because he's a great leader and an even better person, and his community is really, really fortunate to have run into him.
Thank you, Sean. Sean, could you state your city of residence?
Yeah, I live in Rosemont, Illinois, so I came a long way tonight to make these statements.
You did?
Yes.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right, the two call-ins should be online. Tammy Perry, are you online?
Yes, I am. Hello.
All right, Tammy, if you would, we already know your name. Where do you live?
Hi, yes, I live at 431 Fairway Drive. I would also like to add that I actually attended Beecher 200U kindergarten through 7th grade, and then brought my family back in 2012. I brought them back home. This is my second time calling in to support contract renewal for Brad Cox. The amount of support I've witnessed for Mr. Cox from parents and residents is heartwarming, to say the least. I certainly hope the board has witnessed this as well. With that being said, please reconsider your vote. The children of District 200U are counting on you. We need Mr. Cox to continue to guide us through these uncertain times. I feel Brad Cox did an amazing job with staff and students during the remote learning. And I certainly feel confident that he will always do what is best for our children in regards to what the fall may bring in the years to come. And I would also like to add that I think it's very disheartening to hear that the 4 board members who voted no were not at this meeting in person. To me, this just shows me that you lack respect and dedication to the staff, students, and parents of District 200U. I will certainly remember this when you 4 are up for re-election. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. All right, Courtney Zellert.
Yes.
If you'd state where you live.
My name is Courtney Zellhart, and I live at 826 Catalpa here in Beecher.
All right, thank you.
First and foremost, I would like to formally apologize to Mr. Cox and to the board members in attendance for being unable to attend this evening. It is my daughter's 10th birthday, so I stayed home with her. As PTO president, I was fortunate enough to sit in on one of Mr. Cox's interviews while he was applying for our district. He was honest from the very start. He laid out detailed plans and had followed through 100%. He called upon a meeting with me almost immediately after being hired by our district to find out wants and needs from a parent and PTO member. He personally walked the old playground to inspect just how necessary Board of Education support
was needed to fulfill our dreams that we had for a safe and secure space for the students to play. I would also like to note that numerous, I believe 3 board members also walked the playground as well, just to see how bad it was and how much their support was needed. So thank you to them as well. His initiative to bring us to a 1-to-1 ratio also gave the PTO the ability to use funds going towards Chromebooks to other items that our teachers and students were desperately needing. We have currently lived in Beecher for 4 years. My family, most of my family is from Beecher originally, but prior to our 4 years here, we moved 8 times through the military in 7 years. My 10-year-old has had 5 superintendents. He has known the name of one of them. That is Mr. Cox. My 6-year-old has had 2 superintendents, and he could pick out Mr. Cox in a lineup, although he refers to him as the man who wears the vest and the bow tie. I'd just like to urge the 4 who chose not to renew his contract to please reconsider and come to a compromise with those who are putting our students, staff, and district as a whole first above all else. I truly appreciate Ron, Julie, and Larry Herman for all they have done, as I have attended numerous board meetings at this point, and everything is noted. Everything is noted, and it's all very obvious where everyone stands. Thank you to Mr. Cox, and I hope you know you always have my support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there anybody else out there that had signed up while they were here? No?
Mike?
Just clear.
Is no other?
No,
Okay,
okay.
thank you. All right, there are 14, we are in receipt of 14 statements. To conserve time, I will just read their names and the fact that all of the emails and statements were in support of Mr. Cox. And those were received, we received from Mary Burdick, Sarah Barr, Kim Kettman, Julie Johnston, Melissa Sipple, Sarah Murphy, Rebecca Imig, Lynn Gorkowski, Trish Moran, Martha Castro, Lisa and Jameson Teslo, Harold and Tawny Latz, Kelly Falani, and Chris Kellis.
Could you forward those to the board as well, please?
Yes.
Is there any way to post those anywhere for the
Pardon?
community to read?
Yeah.
Is there any way to post those for the community to read? Website, wherever it may be available, so the community can read those statements? That would be up to like Mr. Duncan and them, if they were able to.
We can post and upload them? Okay. Okay. And with that, I will close the guest portion, and we will move on to staff reports. Mr. Cox, you're up.
Yes, thank you. You know, I do want to start by touching on something that was brought up just a minute ago. We are seeing so much socially right now that we really do live in a very unprecedented time, at least for most of us. And so the topic for me as an educator and leader quickly turns to diversity education, of which when we do an examination of our curriculum here at Beecher, 200U is lacking. To that point, we've already started internal conversations. I think all of you know that as part of Dawn Compton's role, not only does she work in special services, but she also hopes to spearhead especially some particular curricular issues that we see, most recently with RTI. And so she has begun working on that diversity education piece. Much like when we start up in August, where we have a better defined educational role for our SRO, but we will also have a better defined K-12 diversity education program. And so, you know, we need to be especially vigilant, make sure that we are engaged in the conversation, engaged in the kids, and make sure that this is a clear part of our educational program.
Thank you.
Also, as we look at our phase 4 and we start to talk about August, as you know, Illinois currently is in phase 3 of reopening. And so at phase 4, public schools can reopen. But quite honestly, with the myriad of preliminary guidelines set in place by the CDC and by the State Board of Education, it's that reopening is very problematic. And so we're having not only internal conversations, trying to see what some of the best practices, excuse me, around the state are. I have a series of meetings coming up. You know, you kind of put all of this in you know, conjunction with the fact that some of the preliminary numbers that you're seeing from around the nation is that they anticipate 20% of parents, even in initial school reopenings, not wanting to send their kids. And so we're very much in a very fluid situation with that, and one that we continue to work on. Just as a quick update, if anybody has had a chance to drive by the front of the high school today, it looks amazing. On the inside, all the asbestos has been cleaned out. They're starting that retrofit right now, and this week they'll start on drives. And so I know that we've got a lot this summer, and Mr. Stanula has done a great job with the large amount that the community board and administration has been asking of him, but it's going to be an exciting summer. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any questions for Mr. Cox?
This is Weiss, so I have a question about what decision did you make about the spring sports? I've been asking about that a couple of times, about the reimbursement to the families for that.
Yeah, I believe all of those have been completed. Is that right, Marla?
Yes.
Yep, those have been completed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So they've all got reimbursement then?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Cox, can you give an update on, I thought the COVID response plan and the reflection process that the district was going to do, or we recommended?
Yeah, so the response plan and the reflection, that's a part of the ongoing process over the summer of trying to move forward and see how we can't be even better when August opens. One of the big reflection pieces that we've really hit on, really there are two at this point, that the organization is starting to hit on. One is professional development with staff to allow them to be better prepared for what is happening with students, and then also is that daily student engagement piece. One of the big things that is being pushed not only at the state but the nation is that every day students are engaged, and so to really see what that looks like.
Any other questions? Mrs. Black.
What stakeholders can you share with us? Did you get input from?
Could you say that again?
What stakeholders were invited to participate in the reflection process?
Oh, we have been constantly receiving input from stakeholders at every level. Students, parents, staff members, community members, and of course the outside educational community as well. And so that's...
Your dad. Your dad.
I'm sorry?
Okay, this is just, again, my question was about the stakeholders that you had highlighted, and then is there any other, proactive measure to push information to seek to get feedback from different groups?
Oh, yes. I mean, we are, like I prefaced this with, we are at a very preliminary stage here, the 8th of June, as we try to navigate the next few months, because as you know, it's a fluid situation in and of itself.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Mrs. Black?
I was just going to take questions on my report. I know you guys have had it and read through it, if anyone has any questions about it. Mrs. Dushas, just to kind of follow up on the question that you had just asked, at the elementary school, my SLT team and I are almost done creating a parent feedback survey, so that as we look forward into making plans for what the fall might look like, we do have a list of questions to solicit parent feedback, so we can take that into account as we are making our plans. So I have my next meeting with them tomorrow, and after that we'll look through it one last time, and then I will be sending it out.
Any questions for Mrs. Black?
Thank you, Mrs. Black, for that response and kind of including the comments around that.
You're welcome.
Mr. Meyer?
I expect big things from Mr. Meyer. I've got nothing. I'm, same thing. You've got my report. Any questions on my brief board report? Mr. Missouri? No. Oh. You exceeded my expectations. No. How about that?
Any questions for Mr. Meyer? Mr. Gaham?
I'm in the same boat you have. My board report, if you have any questions, I do see that the high school graduation is a note to be discussed later in this meeting, so I will talk about that then, unless you want to slide that up higher. It's completely up to you, Mr. President.
I think we can do it now.
What would you like to know? As it says in the report, with the assistance of Mr. Cox, he and I seek some Indiana schools, because Indiana obviously is a lot lighter when it comes to the pandemic opening up the building in the state. So we reached out to Hanover Central. That superintendent was very nice, but their board came back and said there was just too much concern on their end. We understood that. We reached out to Indiana Christian, met with Mr. Peter Boonstra and his head custodian. His board was perfectly fine with it, and so we're moving forward. Mr. Cox and I made a site visit to Indiana Christian, saw exactly what we're going to do, where we're going to do it. Mr. Boonstra did say, hey, it is Indiana. We're opening up quicker than you are, but we're not completely open. So he said a cap of about 250 is expected. So that's when Mr. Cox and I put our heads together and said, well, we have 85 of our seniors graduating. I still also have board members. I have teachers who need to come. So to be fair, every kid's going to get 2 tickets. I know it's tough for some families. I have gotten a plethora of emails saying it's not fair. I understand that. I would also say that there's not a single school in Illinois that I know of that has a live graduation, and we're doing that. These kids deserve everything they've gotten, and we've done a lot for these kids. So we're going to stick to that 2 per student. It is per student, not per family. I have a set of twins. They get 4. They're paying double on all the other stuff, so they might as well get an extra 2 tickets. And the plan is I have about 15 to 20 teachers who've already said they're interested. They're going to be there ahead of time with me. They're going to be our ushers. I'm going to go the day before. I'm going to set the stage with James Dwayne, super nice guy. We're going to set up the stage. We're going to put pieces of paper 2 at a time, separate them 6 feet apart, so people know when they come in, they get to sit down. I work with Mr. Steve Kane over at the bank with the foundation. We still are honoring the parking spot and the 2 front row seats to their person, so I'll make sure that they get their spot as well. And then Ms. Pappas, so far, everybody's welcome, but you're the only one so far to respond to come to graduation. So if any of the board members would like to attend, please
I
let me know.
really appreciate you guys doing this. I feel that, especially in a year like this, you guys are making sure that you have made sure to cover all your bases with these kids, and they're wonderful, and we appreciate that. You are doing.
I'll say what she said. I see you guys putting signs out for these kids, making sure they get out of graduation. You know, I see a lot of virtual out there, but actually these kids are going to get to experience their graduation eventually.
Have we thought about possibly doing a live stream of this so that as our families who can't have the 8 or 10 people that are normally at graduation, that they can be back at the house having a graduation party and waiting for the graduate to show up and actually have a live stream?
Mr. Cox, I feel you know the answer to that question before you even asked. The answer to that is yes. I've been working with Mr. Duncan. We're looking to do either a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live. There is a camera system that he might have to look into purchasing for that stream to work well. But once we get that set up, we can then do it for any one of our events, not just the graduation. You can do it for your board meetings as well. And then we would stream it on the Beecher 200U Facebook page. That's the plan. We got a month to figure it out, and the way Mr. Duncan works, he'll probably get it done by tomorrow. So, but yes, there's absolutely a plan for that to happen.
Just real quick, Mr. Meyer, you too. I saw you in the hallway handing out promotion certificates.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Thank you for making that special to them as well,
You bet.
with the parade and all.
Okay, because it's an unusual situation and it's going to be out of state, I did want to let the board have an opportunity to have any questions addressed. So, any other comments for Mr. Gayam?
Make it happen.
I think it's going to work out well.
Agreed, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, I believe at this time we need a motion for executive session, if that's still desirable.
Yes. Well, you know what? We were going to do the petition presentation first.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, let's do the.
Mr. Meyer, could you have Ms. Belt bring the petition? That's the part of the agenda.
Handbook approved. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, in just a moment. Okay, no, you can sit down. I need a motion to approve a second reading of the fiscal year 2021 elementary, junior high, and high school parent-student handbooks.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Herman?
Yes?
Weissel? Yes. Ducius?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Mazurk?
Yes.
Goldrick?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, and at this time, we have a presentation of a community petition, and you are Ashley, I believe.
Yes, I am Ashley Belts. I
okay.
am here representing the residents of Beecher, Illinois, who reside in the Beecher 200 Unified School District. We are asking that the board members reconsider and revote to renew Superintendent Cox's employment as superintendent. We have 16 reasons why that I'll read off, and then I have an online petition due to the pandemic, and then we were able to get some signatures that I'll go over personally with safety. We feel that he should be renewed because things that we've noticed that he has done. He has encouraged and facilitated the Board of Education and Development of the board goals to provide direction to the district in the 4 main areas of academic excellence, facilities, finance, and community engagement. All of the school's actions have then been focused on supporting these goals throughout the 2 years. The superintendent has also facilitated community forums with us residents or stakeholders to provide action items on each of the board's 4 goals. These action items have provided the specifics for much of the school's improvement. He has increased continuity between teachers, grade levels, and buildings to provide a more common experience, providing more common student expectations. Increased communication between the buildings at the key transition points for students, which is 5th to 6th grade and 8th to 9th grade. He has strengthened the relationship with Prairie State College and has brought their professors on campus to teach dual credit courses. This has more than doubled the number of college credits earned by our students, saving them and their family thousands of dollars. Beginning in August of 2020, there will be a legitimate RTI, response to intervention program, at the junior high and the high school level, not just the elementary. Even though this was a federal mandate all the way from back in 2004, we did not carry the system of support past 5th grade in our district. This will provide students with targeted interventions in math and reading to help them succeed after elementary school. With the recent push to acquire additional hardware, grades 5 through 12 deployed a 1-to-1 program in January 2020. Not only does the shift to technology have the chance to improve student academic success, but it also, as I spoke about earlier, has had a tremendous impact on our e-learning with the COVID pandemic of March 2020. This means that the Beecher 200 students did not miss a day of instruction. Not only did we get 1-to-1, we were also able to send out hotspots for those that did not have internet technologies. With this move towards technology, the school has drastically increased its staff training, utilizing internal expertise and outside resources. Also, within the first 6 months of his employment in November 2018, we had the breaking of trust from the former music teacher. Mr. Koch dealt with that wonderfully. He didn't try to hide things, he didn't shut down, he was fully transparent and made, I think, our community feel better about that situation. With the addition of a cross-categorical special education program, many students have been kept on campus instead of having to put them on a bus for hours to a day to attend expensive programs. Over the years, many of the school's basic needs, such as AT hardware, textbooks, and buses, have been ignored. Mr. Cox has been able to implement district-wide purchasing rotations to keep materials and equipment more up to date, better supporting our students and staff. Communication improvements with the community, our district Facebook page, the superintendent's blog, the redesign of the website, and close working relationships with the village. He has helped to implement facility improvements, the removal of the asbestos in the high school. He increased the junior high gym functionality, fixing sidewalks, updating driveways, assisting the PTO in their elementary school playground, facilitated a new wage scale with classified employees to satisfy the Minimum Wage Act, and improvements in students' health and safety, beacon training with the staff, additions of a school resource officer, and a second full-time nurse so that we don't have one nurse trying to take care of all 1,100 students. Based on these reasons, we think that he should be renewed. The online petition that I am submitting to you has 629 signatures. 554 of those signatures were within 24 hours. It has their name, it has where they're from. It also has 43 comments on it. Am I to read those, or do you want them submitted?
We can probably add those on the website.
Okay. There's 43 comments of those 629. On there, I just want to note the location it has on there, maybe how they signed in. Not all of them say Beecher, but a lot of the names you'll recognize as living in Beecher. Like I know, for example, some people I know that I know where they live in Beecher, it shows as a different address. With that being said, we figured the online petition was the best way in the pandemic because of germs and spreading it. But it was brought to light that maybe that wouldn't be taken seriously. So we in turn printed out a physical petition. In order to do this, we set up spots that people in the community, they have to put their address so that they can prove that they reside in the community. They had to be over 18. For the online one, we couldn't make it where they had to be over 18. So these people had to come search out
us to do the signatures. We got 248 signatures, pretty much in one day. There are 51 comments that they also decided to write in on this. Not everyone had, and once again, they had to go out of their way. This was not a door-to-door petition. This was, we posted on social media, this is where we will be, come sign. These people left the safety of their home to come sign in support so that you guys know how we feel. We had this community purchase 100 yard signs to put in their yard to show their friends and neighbors we support this man. We had t-shirts made up showing that we support this man. We had a parade that we put together with over 50 cars in attendance to show him that we support this man. We have a Facebook group of members of our community, over 230 members. Proactively, what can we do to make the board see what the good that he is doing for our community and to renew his contract? So I have all of this to submit to you in hopes that you will take this into consideration and reconsider your vote. Because as a school board, I am hoping that you will represent the community. And what I am presenting is the community is saying that we want Mr. Cox. We see the wonderful things he's done for our students and our school, and we think he should stay.
Okay, thank you.
Where do you want this? Thank you. Yeah, you throw.
Okay, thank you.
You know, I've seen on Facebook a lot of people asking why people voted no, yes. Well, I'll tell you why I voted yes. When I started out here in 2015, I came in, and Marla knows, I was very high on that infrastructure. Windows, roofs, we had problems. We worked together as a board and we got it done. Prairie State College, I spoke with Mark Wiley, I believe he's the board president over there, about college classes under McCartney. You came in, showed up. Technology. I spoke of that when I ran for the board, that we need to improve our technology. We put over $300,000 in our technology. We went one-to-one, sorry. Teachers, we were lacking in certain areas. We brought in parapros, what you've really done in special education touched me a lot. Math, other programs we brought in. Staff is being heard. Community is being heard and understood. Your COVID-19, off the charts. You want to retain them. Retain it. That's good. It's better. And students like it.
All right, at this time, I'll see if there's a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Support?
Second.
Hey, Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez? Yeah. Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Mazur?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
And Herman?
Yes.
Good to go on our end, I think we're just waiting for one board to come back in.
Still only 3, Joe?
Yeah, we have the Izzo and 3 others besides you guys here.
Paul, Goldrick?
Oh, there we go. Should be getting in right now.
Paul, can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
He's dialed in.
Okay.
Okay, we're back in open session. Unless anyone has an objection, I think Mr. Izzo can leave.
All right. Any questions for me? Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Izzo, for your comments and help today. I appreciate your
Welcome.
insight.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Ron, I believe you have a motion.
Yeah, under new business here, I'd like to make a motion to begin negotiations on a new contract to begin in 2021 for Superintendent Brad Cox.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Weissel?
No.
Duchess? Duchess?
Sorry, no.
Hernandez?
No.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
No.
Herman?
Yes.
Motion did not carry.
Okay, moving on to new business. I need a motion to approve the resignation of Jillian Rowe.
Mr. President,
Pardon?
is that the only motion proposed for the superintendent contract today?
Yes, it was a motion to approve the board president begin negotiating a superintendent contract to begin July 1st, 2021.
So then we can't make a motion to issue a notice of non-renewal?
You would have to put that on the agenda for next time.
Okay. And to do a superintendent search, to start a super search?
Would that have to go through personnel?
They can make a motion.
Yes.
Yes, any further action would have to be placed on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, back to motion to approve.
Mr. Herman, so can four board members place something on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to approve the resignation of Jillian Rowe as high school girls track coach.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to approve a Bobcat Pride stipend to Rick Melton in the amount of $621.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to employ Rachel Doyle as high school cheerleading co-sponsor for fiscal year 2021 with a stipend of $2,121.50.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Goldberg? Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
And Hernandez?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to approve the amended retirement agreement for Marcia Blauen effective June 2023 as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Mazurik?
Yes.
Goldberg?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes?
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to approve the cost of fiscal year 2021 textbooks for the elementary in the amount of $28,979.24, junior high $24,972.14, and high school $30,475.80, totaling $84,427.18 as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Goldberg?
Yeah.
Herman?
Yes?
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Mazurik?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to approve the ATI contract for fiscal year 2021 at a cost of $21,000 as presented.
I would have that amended. Yep.
That would have, instead of as presented, the motion would be to include a section stating that if there is no athletic activity for the fall session, that the money would be refunded.
Is that complete? Is that complete?
Mr. President?
Go ahead. Is that Liz?
Yes, was there, did they already agree to that and we've talked to them about it?
No, I don't believe so.
This is Mr. Cox. We're in the process of having these conversations, and if they won't find somebody to agree to it, we can find somebody who will.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the end? It trailed off.
I said we are in ongoing conversations with them, and if they will not agree to the stipulation, then we can find someone who will.
Okay.
Okay, to repeat the motion, it's to approve the ATI contract for fiscal year 2021 at a cost of $21,000 with the stipulation that if the fall athletic season doesn't occur, that the amount would be refunded. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Mazurik?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, high school graduation has been covered. If you would like to participate, please contact Mr. Gayam or Mr. Cox. Paul, are you available for a Thursday meeting with the Teamsters negotiations?
Yes.
Okay. Then there will be a negotiations committee meeting on Thursday at 4:30 p.m. And I believe that's going to be by phone again. Okay.
I would like to say something on your other, if that's possible.
Okay. I'll open it up to other.
Yes, I wanted to thank all of the support that has been here. As a board member, it's appreciated that everyone is still here, and I see you and I hear you. The people that aren't in attendance, we have people watching from the window on the outside and also in the main junior high hall, and I just want you to be aware of their presence.
Okay, next meeting will be July 13th, 2020, 7 o'clock here at the junior high. And Need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We're adjourned.
Thank you for doing that.